We got to kiss the pig. Everybody ready now? Get your cameras ready. There you go.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
We've seen Keith kiss pigs before.
60th birthday celebrations often poke fun at those nearing retirement, but the folks at Templeton Rye aren't ready to ride off into the sunset. And with plenty of good-natured ribbing served up at this milestone event, it was the main course that took partygoers to hog heaven.
We took 25 Duroc pigs and fed them Templeton Rye mash. We butchered them several weeks ago, and now we're actually having a hog roast in conjunction with my birthday party.
Increasingly, culinary masters have concocted unique tastes and aromas by including bourbon and rye whiskey in their dishes. And while the buzz about such distilled ingredients has grown, for one small town, value-added ventures of the spirited kind were once part of the fabric of life.
We knew something was wrong because we knew that they hid whiskey out in the cornfield and stuff like that.
Irene Meislin grew up near Templeton, Iowa, and fondly recalls the town's dubious past. Rooted in the mystique of Prohibition-era bootlegging, Templeton was, for those in the know, a hub of exceptional rye whiskey. While the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution outlawed the manufacture and sale of alcoholic beverages, it was woefully inadequate at dampening demand. And grassroots entrepreneurs found that operating outside the law, on occasion, could help families make ends meet during the Great Depression.
Oh yes, that's what saved the farm.
As farmers embraced the valuable and illegal crop, Templeton Rye became famous. And once the acclaimed hooch fell into the flask of a certain gangster, the Iowa whiskey solidified its place in history.
He was supposedly a customer of Templeton back in the day. It used to be shameful to be associated with Al Capone, and now it's infamous.
Following the repeal of Prohibition in 1933, what was essentially a folk recipe for rye whiskey eventually faded into obscurity.
It was something I didn't want to see go away, so set out to make it a legal brand.
Capitalizing on nostalgia, along with the Hawkeye State's thirst for all things Iowa, two descendants of bootleggers launched Templeton Rye Spirits in 2006 to great success. However, local residents and recently some fans have been critical of Templeton Rye because distillation of the White Lightning is actually done by a factory in Indiana that handles several whiskey brands. The proprietary mixture, which is claimed to match the original outlaw prescription as close as legally possible, is then shipped back to Iowa in charred oak barrels, bottled and labeled in Templeton. The Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, a division of the Treasury Department, which oversees whiskey making in the U.S., presented another hurdle. In order to claim the designation rye whiskey, the agency requires that fermented mash consist of no less than 51% rye. According to the Agriculture Department, total U.S. rye production amounted to more than 7 million bushels in 2013. But that pales compared to the nearly 14 billion bushels harvested by America's corn producers. Europe and Russia produce the lion's share of high-quality rye these days, so U.S. distillers purchase the majority of their commodity from foreign suppliers. While Templeton Rye maintains its own small rye field at its western Iowa facility, the crop is mainly for show. So cooking up the legacy liquor at an established Hoosier State beverage behemoth was a cost-effective strategy. Templeton Rye is forthcoming with that fact, but it also seeks appeasement. A change in labeling was recently announced to clarify where the booze is made, and the company plans to break ground on a new distillery in Templeton within the next few years. Despite the recent controversy, Templeton Rye's Heritage Pork Project has attracted international fascination. But the owners concede the idea to feed spent mash to pigs in order to affect flavor and consistency of pork was likely born over a glass or two of their signature product.
So here's the feed. The dark stuff you see in there is the Templeton mash. We're taking what's essentially a commodity product, dried distiller's grain. I mean, it's not like we've thought of anything too new here, but no one's really taking a specific, almost branded form of dried grains and fed it to pigs.
After consulting with experts, it was decided that Duroc pigs, known for their hardiness, demeanor, and flavor-imparting intramuscular fat, would be an ideal breed for the experiment.
What we tried to do is balance the amino acid composition to make sure we were maximizing muscle deposition. And then from there, we utilized approximately 20% of the Templeton Rye DDGs in order to put those diets together.
Though intoxicating to their palates, none of the swine were inebriated by nutritionist Mark Bertram's dietary decree. Each pig consumed roughly 600 pounds of feed during its lifespan at a cost of $75 to $80 per head. Trucking fermented byproduct from the Indiana distillery back to Iowa added additional expense to the niche product. But the prospect of a one-of-a-kind creation outweighed financial concerns.
I could see definitely where the consumer could be also intrigued with the process. As somewhat of a connoisseur of Templeton Rye myself, I thought it could be something that would be unique.
They're pretty docile.
With promising reviews from those on hand at the initial hog tasting in Des Moines, Templeton Rye could be poised to refine and expand production of its pork, much like the old bootleggers did with their manufacture of booze decades ago.
I tell people we're whiskey makers, not pig farmers, so I don't know what the future holds with this. We don't get a lot of time to kind of step back and look around and kind of talk about what we've done and where we've come, but it's neat to be here. It's Keith's birthday. We're in our home state of Iowa. We've got all our, bootleggers and really good fans here, so it's kind of a special day, and I think people are having a great time.
For Market to Market, I'm Josh Bittner.